Hello everyone, today I'm going to be going over the Green Airport. The first graph I'm going to be going over is the monthly tracking. And as you can see in the trend in this graph, it's increasing over time. So at the beginning of the month, it's 16, January, and February it's 15, March 14, and then once we get to July, it's 29. Like the amount of near misses go up. The next one I'm going to be talking about is the days of the week. And the trend I'm starting to see in this graph is a lot of the near misses are happening on Monday, which could mean employees are coming in tired from work, had a long weekend, and just aren't as motivated on Mondays. And even throughout the rest of the week, they're pretty even. Tuesday and Wednesday, at the beginning of the week, you're going to see more of your near misses, but towards we get to the end of the week, you're going to see them start to decrease. Next one we have is time of day. And as you can see here, the one that sticks out to me the most here, as y'all can see right here, is right after lunch. So it's going to be in that 12:30 to 1 p.m. time. Most of the employees are probably ate lunch, their bellies are full. They're not thinking about work really, so they're tired. It's just going to lead to cause a lot more human error. And also another trend in this graph, as you can see, is right here, almost in that 9 to 10 spot where you're thinking about lunch or what you're going to eat. Man, I didn't bring anything. There's a lot on people's minds around this time, and they're probably not going to be as focused, and that's why we're going to see that trend right there in between before and after lunch. Okay, the next one we're going to do is group member versus non-group member. And as you can see here, it's pretty even for the most part. Not a big change, but you got 53% with the non-group and then 47% with the group. So what that's telling us is, as you can see, is people who are not in the who is not a group member, they're going to have more near misses. So the type of incident, the number one that showed up for my airport was mobile equipment. There was a lot of repetitive accidents of people texting and driving, speeding, just not aware of safe driving. And the second one, as you can see, is going to be PPE, and with this one, it's going to be more of stuff like not wearing the right gloves, hard hats, but that was a pretty repetitive one too. And then material handling, this was one of my biggest ones yet. And as you can see, a lot of these were very hazardous. And what was going on with this, a lot of the employees were actually sitting there and talking on the phone while filling up their vehicles or whatever. And when that happens, that can create a static charge and can cause a really big explosion. And there was other instances, people spilling and not cleaning up, that can cause little minor ones like slips. Can turn into bruises, sprains, fractures. And another one that I can see on this one was the ergonomics. And so you can see right here, most of them were in the moderate area. And a lot of the times I noticed, and this was a very repetitive one with my near misses, was people would, a machine or something would go out to load boxes and everything, and employees would have to sit there all shift moving these boxes by hand, not just for a little bit, but a full shift. And that's going to increase to them having back injuries over time, like sprains. That's going to tire and wear your employees out. We don't want that. All the other ones you can see, the culture that was kind of a big one that stuck out to me. Little things like employees not washing their hands, and that's going to be mainly the minor. But falling parts, chemicals, all these were not the same. But the main ones that stuck out to me in my airport was mobile equipment, PPE, material handling, and ergonomics. So now I'm going to be talking about the accumulated annual near misses, recordables, and the first aids. We did have 2 recordables in January, which right here you can see. Again, you can see the trend of our near misses. You know, we start off kind of slow, not too bad. It slowly goes up, and then right after June to July, it just tremendously, all the near misses, just the rates go up. First aids, we didn't have any first aids in January, none in February, none in March, but we did have one in May and one in July and August. We didn't have any, we did have 2 recordables in January, one in February, one in March, one in April, and one in May. So now we're going to be talking about the annual OIR of each month. Our highest one is going to be February because we did have those 2 recordables. January we had one, and I think August. But as you can see in the trend of this graph, it starts off pretty low, or actually pretty high at the beginning of the year, and then as we go on through the year, it starts to decrease and decrease and decrease, which is a good sign. So now I'm going to be getting into my top 5 near misses. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about near miss number 1. Smoke was observed inside a working hangar. The hangar was described as a light haze. While the security officer was preparing to undo his face mask, the smoke was observed coming from an outside pesticide product, incorrectly used indoors, that was burning in a metal pan position on the floor of the hangar. The main chemical components of the pesticide was found to be Pridapian and isoprocarb. Identified later in the incident, both of these chemicals were a toxic hazard. The airport crew arrived at the second floor hallway. The local Fire Marshal Investigation Division revealed that these pesticides are imported from China and not approved for sale of the United States. The box believed to contain several plastic bags of the sawdust type material, which also includes a wick fuse, which is placed in the bag to burn the product. I rated this a total higher score of 12 with a severity level of 3 and a probability level of 4. So with the chemicals Pridapian and isoprocarb are both recognized in this. This means that it's a toxic hazard, and if not only employees, but if anyone is walking around, they're going to be exposed to this. It's just a big chemical exposure. So not only are just one employee, there's many employees and other people at risk. This could be a thing where they could have to shut the airport down for an hour or 2 just to get everything out. Okay. So the corrective action, what I would do for this near miss is, first off, make sure that everyone is away from the area so they're not going to inhale any of those chemicals. I'm going to make an effort to confine the space, block everything off, so again, after I evacuate, I don't want anyone coming in there. And then after that, once I get it blocked off, I'm going to go in the process of using safe handling and disposal techniques to remove any leftover insidides and any of those bad chemicals. Okay, so now we're going to be going on and talking about near miss number 2, which is maintenance workers assigned to install an erosion control fence decided to use a grader with a ripper blade when their ditch witch could not penetrate the soil. They accidentally snagged an underground line running from an on-site utility pole to a facility building. The equipment operator checked the breaker for the line and it was tripped. Environmental restoration personnel have always used guidance known as the 1-foot rule, which is if the soil will be penetrated less than 12 inches, an excavation permit locating underground utilities is not necessary. The fence installation required only 6 to 8 inches penetration. What was not considered was the past activity at the site could have lowered the surface level in relation to the depth that underground utilities were originally installed. Workers did not realize that they could have stopped work and informed management when the electrical cable was discovered. When the excavation permit was requested, the area was not clearly defined. Facilities personnel thought there were no utilities in the area specified and wrote no underground utilities on the front of the permit. The total higher score for this near miss came out to be 12, with a severity level of 3 and a probability level of 4. For that being so, the probability level 4, this is an electrical burn, this could have been death, there could have been a lot of property damage, this is just a no bueno. And the severity level, I said 3 because I feel like this could be kind of common, people digging and hitting electrical wires. And one thing I got out of this was management did not care enough to even warn their employees about any of this. The employees failed to take into account potential that previous site operations may have changed and subsurface utility death. The electrical cable was snagged because they weren't careful. They easily could have just used another tool instead of using the ditch witch. A lot more work, but shovels would have been a little bit safer option here. The event was partially caused because of the assumption that there was no utilities in the designated area as the stated excavation permit. Again, that's what I've been talking about. If management would have cared a little bit more about their team here and their employees, I think none of this would have happened. The risk of this, there could have been electrical shock fires, a lot of property damage. And that's why the probability level was 4. Going on with the corrective action for this near miss, the first thing we're going to do is make sure that our employees are away from the scenario. No one else is going to get burned or electrical burned from the wire. Then we're going to call management and we're going to inform them and let them know that what happened and we need to get the power of the line turned off immediately. So I don't know if that's us calling the utility or management, but that is the number one priority thing that we have to do, is make sure that the electricity is off. There's no more voltage. Going on from after that, the next corrective action I would do would be cover the area, make sure no one else could get in there, no more injuries. But the whole thing I would do to even stop this from happening is management needs to go out there, be more involved with their employees when they're doing situations like this, put more signs, more labels up to ensure and warn future employees about stuff like this happening again. Going on with the third near miss, which is an employee was on a scaffold outside of the main terminal building when cleaning windows and one side was not tied down good enough. Broke loose, nearly dumping the unexpected employee. He should always check to make sure the scaffolding is secure. The total high-risk score for this near miss came out to be 12 again, with the severity level being 3 and probability level being 4. That being because there's always a serious risk of falling when you're using scaffolding. That's why the severity level is going to be 3 and the probability level is going to be 4. Because if he does fall, it's not going to be good. There's going to be serious injuries, like broken bones. Furthermore, he could even died, and the falling objects, like the stuff that he could have been holding, could have also hit employees or even done some property damage. The corrective action for this near miss would mainly be train my employees again to always double check the scaffolding. In scaffolding, there's so many things that can go wrong, and this is a prime example. The employee should have properly checked before doing anything to make sure that everything was okay. Another corrective action I would do in this case, I would have more walk-around inspections and keep an eye on my employees that are going to be using scaffolding in certain situations. Okay, so going on to near miss number 4, which is an employee was moving a vent pipe while he was wearing a safety harness, but did not secure one strap properly. The other straps on the harness took the load and held. He now makes sure the harness is secured. The severity level of this one came out to be 2 and a probability level of 4, which brought us out to a total higher score of 8. The worker is at more risk falls because he is working at heights, which could lead to severe injuries such as broken bones or even death. For the corrective action for this near miss, number 1 is going to be making sure every employee is properly trained again on fall protection. Seems to me, going through all of these near misses, that it's a very repetitive thing of seeing employees that are careless and not wanting to do the correct things, and I think the main fix to that would be training. Again, another corrective action I would also add during a process like this, when I'm seeing cases like this, I'm going to probably start doing more walk-around inspections and making sure my employees are tying off and doing the correct things when using fall protection. Coming out to our final near miss, number 5, it is power goes out for the outside light signals. Drivers are directed by employees on a movement in and out of the airport. Employees have to wave drivers through for hours by hand with no signs. So the severity level of this one came out to be 2. The probability level came out to be 4, which brings us out to a total higher score of 8. That being, there's a lot more potential of accidents happening because there's no light and the employees are using nothing with their hands. I don't know if they're wearing reflectors. It doesn't say. So they could not be wearing the correct PPE, which could lead people who are driving to hit them. Wrecks, just property damage. That's why I said the probability level is 4. In this case, the severity level is going to be 2 because I don't think the lights are going to go out as much as we think, but it's still possible. No one's just going to be able to see for a long time, and the employees do not need to be out there directing traffic. So going on with the corrective action for this near miss, number 1 being there needs to be some sort of backup generator to generate a light source. I mean, what happens if there's a storm and there's lightning and lightning hits the airport, and power goes out all day? I mean, you're going to lose so much business. It's not good. In this scenario, there should be a backup generator, so where the employee shouldn't even have to be out there directing traffic. Second option I would say is, even if the employees are out there, they need to have a reflective vest on, and they should also have a flashlight and waving on traffic so they are visible to other people. I'm going to be talking about the RCA I conducted, which is a root cause analysis, and I used the 5 whys. I'm going to be talking about near miss number 4. If y'all do not remember which one that was the one I talked about with the guy using fall protection, and he did not secure one of the safety harness properly, but luckily the other straps did hold on, and he was okay. But the first question I would ask during this would be, why did the employee not secure one strap of the safety harness properly? Well, after doing a little bit of reading and going back, I found out that this happened at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, which means the employee was not fully focused because they were tired. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not the type of guy who would love to work on Sunday. Will if I have to, but this guy was probably tired, guy or girl was tired, probably had a long night, been working a lot of hours. They're not going to be fully focused. something like this could easily have happened. Second question I would ask was, why was the employee tired? Because, like I just said, because the worker's been putting in long hours without getting enough sleep. It's a Sunday. This worker could have been working since Monday, just a lot of hours trying to get money. Don't know. Why was the worker putting in lengthy hours without taking enough breaks? There's not enough employees certified to do the task, and there's a tight deadline for the pipes to be clean. The fourth question I would ask was, why did the worker receive an insignificant training regarding the significance of correctly fastening the harness? Because the employee might not have overlooked or skipped important training sessions, or because they may not have been gaps in the organization and training gaps. So management, at the end of the day, seems like going over these near misses, it doesn't seem like they give too much care with their employees when it comes to training. The fifth question I would ask is, why were there oversight of the training program with the management? I would say, again, just due to the lack of attention, the management doesn't care about their employees. It seems like these employees don't seem like they need to show up for these trainings. They act like they probably know it all. Again, management just needs to stick to their employees and make sure that they're showing up to these training sessions. So now I'm going to be getting into the cost analysis, with number one being mobile equipment. A driver gets a little patient and speeds around another driver and almost hits the baggage clerk. So the injury type for this one would be multiple physical injuries. The direct cost came out to be $78,141. The indirect cost of this one came out to be a total of $85,155, and the total cost being $164.96. Second one of my recordables is going to be PPE. And this one is going to be employee with long hair did not have their hair tied back and almost went into a moving machine that moves luggage. I said the injury type for this one's going to be crushing. If his hair gets in, it's not going to be good. He could potentially start crushing, and this is not a good injury. The direct cost of this one is going to be $67,003. The indirect cost is going to be $73,703. And the total cost is going to come out to be $140,706. Okay, the next one, going to be number 3, is going to be material handling. And with this one, it was never store or use highly flammable liquid or gases near electrical equipment or power source. This one, if it were to blow up, anyone around it is going to get a burn. So with that being the injury type being burn, the direct cost is going to come out to be $47,192. Indirect cost is going to be $51,911, and the total cost come out to be $99,103. On to number 4, which is ergonomics. And this one is going to be employee was loading bags without of aid of a lifter for complete shift because it was not maintenance correctly. So over time, this employee is going to have to pick up those boxes and move them, and that's just going to potentially put them at injury. I said the most common injury for this would be a sprain, probably some type of back injury and sprain or so. But with that being said, the direct cost of this one came out to be $30,487, and the indirect cost came out to be $33,535. The total cost for both these came out to be $64,022. Going on to number 5, we have expectations to others. The employee in the main offense was not paying attention to what he was doing when he was stapling papers and almost stapled his finger. He had not applied enough pressure to penetrate the skin. He said he will pay more attention when he is using sharp objects. Injury type here is going to be a little puncture. If he was to staple his finger, the staple would puncture his finger. And the direct cost of this one's going to come out to be $27,804. Indirect cost would be $30,584, and the total cost coming out to be $58,388. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about my near misses with the direct cost, indirect cost, and the total cost. So, again, I don't know if y'all remember near miss number one, but I'll go ahead and repeat it. Smoke was absorbed inside a working hangar. The hangar was described as a light haze. While the security officer was preparing to undo his face mask, the smoke was observed coming from an outside pesticide product, incorrectly used indoors, that was burning in a metal pan positioned on the floor of the hangar. The main chemicals components of the pesticide was found to be pridapian and isoprocarb. Identified later in the incident, both of these chemicals state inhalation toxic hazard. The airport crew arrived at the second floor hallway. The local fire marshal investigation division revealed that these pesticides are imported from China and not approved for sale at the United States. The box is believed to contain several plastic bags of the sawdust material, which includes a wick fuse which is placed in the bag to burn off the product. Injury type for this one is going to be a respiratory disorder because of the toxic chemicals, pridapian and isoprocarb. If anyone's around this and they inhale it, they're automatically going to be available to a respiratory disorder. The direct cost of this one is going to come out to be $41,013. The indirect cost is going to be $45,114, and the total cost is going to be $86,127. Okay. Going on to near miss number two. Maintenance workers were assigned to install the erosion control fence, decided to use a grader with a ripper blade when their ditch could not penetrate the soil. They accidentally snagged an underground line running from an on-site utility pole to a facility building. The equipment operator checked the breaker for the line and it was tripped. The person used guidance, the 1 foot rule. If the soil will be penetrated less than 12 inches, an excavation permit located in underground utilities is not necessary. The fence installation required only 6 to 8 inches penetration. What was considered the past activity at the site could lower in the surface relation the depth underground utilities were originally installed. Workers did not realize that they should have stopped work and informed management immediately when the electrical cable was discovered. When the excavation permit was requested, the area was not clearly defined. Facilities personnel throughout there were no utilities in the area specified and wrote no underground utilities on the front of the permit. So, with this near miss, the injury type is going to be electrical shock. If anyone hits that cable, or even the person using the excavation thing, if it hits it at the right spot and causes a spark, they're gonna, it's not gonna be good. They're gonna be there with an electrical shock. The direct cost of this is, it's a big one, $158,218, with the indirect cost being $174,039. Total cost coming out to be $332,257. Going on with near miss number 3, an employee was on a scaffold outside the main terminal building when cleaning windows, and one side was not tied down good enough and broke loose, nearly dumping the unsuspecting employee. You should always check to make sure the scaffolding is secure. Injury type is going to be multiple physical injuries. Direct cost can be $78 to $141. Indirect cost is going to be $85,155, and the total cost can be $164,096. Near miss number 4, an employee was moving a vent pipe while he was wearing a safety harness, but did not secure one strap properly. The other straps on the harness took the load and held. Injury type being multiple physical injuries. If he was to fall, I don't know if he's going to break his arm or his leg. It all really depends on how this person falls. The direct cost is going to come out to be $78,141. Indirect cost is going to be $85,955, and the total cost is going to be $165,096. Going on with near miss number 5, as you see here, power goes out for the Outside light signals, drivers are directed by employees on the movement in and out of the airport. Employees have to wave drivers through for hours by hand with no signs for the drivers. I said the injury type for this one. Also, it's going to be a multiple physical injuries. Again, these employees are out there directing people in the dark with no signs for the drivers. I don't know if they're wearing reflective gear. I hope so. I don't know if they have flashlights, so no one can see them. So this is going to put those employees at multiple physical injuries. The direct cost is going to come out to be $78,141. The indirect cost is going to be $85,955. The total cost comes out to be $164.96. So after talking about all that, I'm going to combine the total cost of everything, and that came out to be $1,436,987. To me, this total is way too high for an airport, and I think this number could be cut in half. Most of the accidents that you see when you go through my Excel you'll see a lot of them are repetitive and small things like people being on their phones, management not caring enough to train their employees about fall protection, which could be such a bad injury, multiple severe injuries, which could lead to even death. Even when you go back to the excavation thing, that just proves that management here does not care for their employees. And for me, I don't think that this company is worth the risk, because if management isn't on the employee side, they're not going to be on my side, and there's not going to be much I can do unless I have the support of management. There's too many near misses with mobile equipment. I mean, again, that's an easy fix. I mean, what I would do if I was in this situation, I would put monitors up while people are driving where we could see what they're doing if they're on their phone, and if they do get on their phone, it flags them. And the hiring process needs to be a little better with driving records. This company is just too much of a risk for me and is not worth the investment. So now I'm going to be talking about my wellness program, which is Trim and Thrive, Transforming Bodies, Elevating Lives. I chose to do my wellness program over overweight or obesity from the Brown LLC Population Health and Risk Study. I did this because I believe that living a healthy lifestyle can promote energy and can provide a lot more healthy studies in the work field, and it can prevent things such as diabetes and even certain cancers. Goals of this program: number 1 being increase awareness among employees about the health and risk associated with being overweight or obese. Number 2, support employees in adapting healthier lifestyle behaviors to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. Goal number 3, improve all employee health and quality of life by reducing the prevalence of overweight obesity in the workplace. So the program overview is we are trying to educate our employees about healthy eating, what you should eat, what you should not eat, what's good for you, what's going to make you more energized, what's going to prevent cancers, what's all of that. There's even going to be resources to such things as meal plans. People can share recipes. It's just going to be a whole good environment to get everyone involved in trying to better themselves. For the physical part of it, there will be fitness challenges, so whoever will lose the most weight in 3 months, that was the thing. And if people exercise, there will be exercise classes such as yoga, stretches before work and after work, marathons such as like fundraisers. We might have some fundraisers for the company, like a 5K. If you attend one of those and post a picture, you get points for that. Anything as walking groups or just everyday people who go to the gym. There will be access to fitness facilities and equipment, donations if people do not want them anymore, and there will also be access to online workouts that we will be posting. We want to get employees to attend as much educational workshops as we can with the Zoom calls to get them informed and know that they're attending and learning and putting that effort to make the change. Same with the activities. We want people to attend these stretches, make sure that they're nice and loose before and after work, even join some of the online workouts just to improve ourselves. Communication and rewards. So to keep track of everything, there will be a post on social media sent so every employee and family member can see about the challenge that will be going on. And email will be sent out to every employee who works at the airport. So the employee who loses the most weight in a 3-month period and attends the most events will get the option of a $1,000 bonus or a fully paid vacation on a cruise. And on this cruise they can also bring one other person. It's up to them. Some people don't like to travel, would rather just have the money, so I would not just rather just give someone an option. You know, if they are in the position where they can't travel, I would rather give them money so I know that they can get something. This is going to keep people more motivated because some people really were going on that cruise, and some people will say, man, I really could use that $1,000 bonus. Measuring the results. So that the app, like I was just talking about, there will be an app that employees can post pictures of the process showing up as them showing up at events. They could post a picture on the app, save it, and even if they have a meal that like it proved that they're eating a healthy meal that day or a lunch, they can take a picture and post it and share with other people what it is. And to track the alterations in the health outcomes of the employees, such as a decline in the risk factors of chronic disease, we're going to have weigh-ins where people can track their weight to make sure that they're doing good, make sure they're doing it in a healthy manner. And if someone does have any of these diseases or anything and it's helping and they get rid of it because of this program, they also get points too. And also there will be surveys that focus on groups where people can put what's helping for them, what's not helping, and if the program is working good, on what improvements we need to make. And that's it, guys. That's all I have for y'all. Thanks for watching.